Hello and welcome everybody to the last day of Charmed Chats and Happily Ever After Sprints, where we've had a chance to talk to fantasy romance authors all month. We played some games, we did some writing sprints. All of those will still live on the channel in case you ever want to catch up with any of your favorite authors. But today we do have our last author on for the day, and so I'm happy to have Elaine here. But let me introduce myself. I'm Shannon, writing under the name of SC Huston, and you're here on my YouTube channel where I publish content about writing and self-publishing, and also do weekly writing sprints. I'm also part of the Self-Publishing Tips and Tricks podcast with Ben Pick from Running to Write and Morgan Lee, and also the founder and conference chair of the AuthorTube Writing Conference, heading into its third year, and that is June 28th through the 30th this year, so please mark your calendars for that. Besides what I do here on YouTube, I'm also a fantasy romance author and YA fantasy author with a passion for writing about broken characters who face adversity to become better versions of themselves. And there may or may not be dragons, but there's always love to find. So as I mentioned, I am joined here for this last day with by Elaine Canyon. She is an author tuber for those who are part of the community and know of her. So I'm so happy to have someone I know for the last day. And so we are going to spend a little bit of time learning about her novel that dropped today, and it's linked in the chat. Go get it as an ebook. It's free. So go grab that if you can. I just finished reading it this morning. It's a really good read. But let me do Elaine's bio. Elaine Canyon writes romantasy comedies because you shouldn't have to choose between a romantasy and a rom-com. Her books feature romances in bright fantasy worlds with characters that are sure to leave you laughing. She writes closed-door romances with swoony kisses and heart-melting chemistry, giving you all the romance without the explicit scenes. You can read her short story, Love and a Bit of Disorder, in the, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Raconteur?
Yeah, Raconteur.
Press anthology. There's also an audio recording of that on her YouTube channel. You see what happened is the name of the anthology that was published in, and that's on Amazon NKU. Her novella, Love, Ships, and Sea Serpents, releases today, Leap Day, so that she has to wait 4 years to celebrate her 1-year anniversary.
Yes.
Elaine lives in the mountains of central Utah with her husband and children. When she's not writing, you can find her in the mountains, hiking, rock climbing, and skiing with her family. And welcome to my channel, Elaine. I'm so glad you're here. I think I've had you on before for like writing sprints and stuff. And it's always been awesome. We connected, gosh, I don't know, well over a year ago. Was maybe 2 years ago now?
It was 2 years ago now. I went to go find it. And I was like, oh my gosh, the first time I reached out to you was in 2021, I think, or 2022. Oh. It was a while ago.
Yeah. So I've known you for a while, and I think we were both like writing our fantasy romances at the same time.
Yep.
And we were talking a lot about that. So I'm glad that we were able to connect and have you on the channel and talk about you and celebrate your book today. So tell us a little bit more about you and whatever else that you might want to add.
So yeah, I write fun fantasy romance books. I wanted a book that was that still had all of the lightness and happiness and laughter that a rom-com gives you. But I am so drawn to the romance fantasy world, and I love fantasy worlds. And if you know anything about the Rocky Mountain West, you know that we seem to just kind of put out fantasy authors. That we live in a really rugged terrain area, and it creates all sorts of worlds where you think, oh, this would be so cool. And you can almost see like where a dragon would come out or where any other cool mythical creature would live where we live. And so I was like, well, let's combine all of this together and let's make exactly what I want.
Oh, I love that. The mountains, they also inspire me. I've been lucky to be stationed in a couple of different places. I was stationed in Washington State for 5 years. 1 year I was deployed though. And I used to hike Mount Rainier like all the time. I love the mountains. It's very inspiring for writing.
So pretty. I love it.
Let's say hello. There's a ton of chat going on, but there is the link. It is pinned to the top of the chat if you want to grab a copy of it. Rachel was here first to say first and hashtag Trash Goblin Takeover. If you want to see more about Trash Goblin, you can find that in the very first episode of Charm Chats and Happily Ever After Sprints, where that came up. And hellos, and Rachel, that hashtag, hi everyone. Hello, Margaret. Rita, hello, hi everybody. Oh, did I miss Kiko? Yes, I did. Sorry, Kiko. Hi, Kiko. Sometimes it's hard to concentrate when there's so much here.
It's going so fast. Keep looking over at it.
Hellos. I first read Nerland instead of Nerland.
Nerdland. Nerdland would be fun too. I'd be totally into that.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, my first instance of reading that in the book and it probably just what I remember is when they were referencing the sailors on the other ship they were attacking. So it's like, so it wasn't Nerland. Was it Nerlands? I don't know what it was. I don't remember. Sorry, but yeah.
Oh, it was Newlanders.
Nerlanders. Okay, so then I didn't. Yeah, and that's why I didn't see Nerdland, but I did think of that briefly when I saw Nerdland later. But yeah, more hellos. Where do I sign up? Nerdland. I wouldn't be opposed to a land.
I live in it all the time.
Is there a tourist guidebook? Hello, hello, Maureen. This is Chris.
Hey,
Chris Mary. Welcome. Happy leap year day.
Yay.
Hey, hello. Nikki, hello. Congrats,
hi,
Elaine.
Nikki. Thank you.
And hi, Elaine and Shannon. Hello. So proud of you.
Aw.
Hey, I recognize that cover from Elaine's cover video.
Yes, that is the video.
Romance plus fantasy plus comedy. I'm in. I wish I could write comedy. And yes, I did chuckle a few times over things. Like there's even that first chapter, like in the first opening scene, I was chuckling over something. I don't remember what it was. That's why I can't write funny, because I'm like, I need to remember this and I don't remember it. So loved seas, ships and sea servants. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Bob Hawkins says congrats.
Hey, Bob.
We've got a few questions. I'll come back to those here in just a moment. Yep, and I was looking for a books to read link for you, but I couldn't find one.
Right now it's on my website, and it's on and it's like 5 different stories on Instagram right now. So if you follow me on Instagram, go hit my
Yeah, I do see you on Instagram, but I give myself a time limit, like 2 minutes every time I'm on there, so I don't get through smart. Like I only get like some comments. Like I look at the comments for some, or look at the drop down.
That's very smart. I should put a timer for Instagram.
No, I went to your website though. I didn't see this. I must have missed it somewhere, because I saw
I didn't click the right button, so it didn't go live until like 9 o'clock. So
I was on there before 9.
It wasn't live when it was supposed to be live. So It's live now. If you go now, it's fixed.
It's there. Okay, cool. It's like, did I miss it? Like I could not find Rachel's book yesterday. Rachel Adams, who was on. I could not find it. I was clicking everywhere, and I couldn't find it. And she's like, "Oh, it's right here." I'm like, "Oh." Okay, question on procrastinating on the scenes. Yeah, we will come back to all these questions. I'd be in on Nerdland too.
Yay.
All right. Well, let's move into talking about Elaine's book. And this is the question and answer period. So you're welcome to drop any questions that you might have. We're going to get to all of them. But even when we finish the question and answer period, if you still have more questions, keep dropping them. We will come back to the chat often throughout today. But I do like to start off with the very first question, which is what drew you to write in the fantasy romance genre?
So a little bit of spite, but I actually started in the fantasy romance genre in fan fiction. So I ended up doing basically 2 degrees, but I only got 1 degree in college. I switched majors, and when I switched majors, it meant I had to start over. So when I switched to graphic design, I had to start all the way back at the beginning, because I was originally computer science. And nothing crosses over. Nothing.
Oh my gosh.
Literally nothing. So by the time I finished that in 2016, I was so burned out. And I was like, I'm just going to go back and I'm going to read, because I hadn't read in years. And I started reading all of my old favorites. And one of my old favorites was Harry Potter. And I read the whole Harry Potter series again. And in my head, I built up like this actual romance between Harry Potter and Ginny Weasley. And then I read book 6 and I was like, wait, how did I build up this massive romance in my head? And there's like 2 chapters, if that. There's nothing. And I was like, oh, well, that's kind of dumb. Why isn't there more? And then I was complaining about it to somebody, and they said, well, there's a thing called fan fiction, and people write those stories that you want to read. And I went, oh, well, that's kind of cool. And then I found fan art, and I started reading fan fiction, and I couldn't find what I wanted. So out of spite, I wrote what I wanted, because it was really just a, come on, somebody write this, and no one was writing it. And so I wrote what I wanted, and I wrote fan fiction. I still technically write fan fiction. I write stories as presents for friends. I write flash fiction and little things. But in that basically 7 years before I branched into original fiction, I wrote 7 different novels in fan fiction in the Harry Potter world, and most of them were I took the characters and put them in the fantasy world I wanted and gave them the fantasy powers I wanted, and I just brought the characters around with me. And my husband one day was like, "What are you doing? You're on the computer all the time and you're typing." And I explained what I was doing, and he went, "Oh, well, do people read what you write?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, the story I'm posting right now, I've got about 1,000 people who follow me every week." And he looked at me like I was an idiot, and he said, "And why are you not writing something you can sell?" Um, which is
Yeah.
why the dedication in
I
Love
saw
Ships
that
and
to
Sea
your
Serpents
husband.
is to my husband,
Yeah.
because he was the one who said, "If you can get 1,000 people to read your fan fiction, you could get 1,000 people to read your book." I was
Yeah.
like, "That's a good point."
Yeah. I think
And
that's oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh no, so that's how I got in, was that I started in fan fiction, and then finally my husband was like, "You have stories, write your own stories. Like, stop using someone else's characters, create your own characters and do this."
I think it's funny that you said too that you did it out of spite because our very first author on Charm Chats also said that she did hers out of spite. So I was like, okay, we got a theme going on here. So, um, all right, so let's talk about your brand new release, Love, Ships, and Sea Serpents. Please tell us about your novella and your inspiration for writing it.
So Love Ships and Sea Serpents is the prequel to the Outcasts of Nearland series. And in this book, we follow two pirates who have been friends forever. They've grown up on this pirate ship together. And about 10 years before the book takes place, they start to develop a little crush on each other, but neither of them says anything. And it grows and it grows and it grows. And when we come into this story, they are both dying with how much they like each other and how much they'd like to be together. But there's a problem that the ship that they're on, the way that they're able to have protection from the country that's after them, which is Nearland, is the mermaids will only protect the crew that came to them when they asked for protection. So they can't bring anybody new onto this crew. And that includes having children. And Hannah's number one dream is to have children. And her dream is that because one of my dreams growing up was to be a mom. And I wanted to give that to a character. And so Hannah has to leave the ship if she wants to have kids. And Nicholas really doesn't want her to leave. And Nicholas ends up getting knocked overboard by a sea serpent. And Hannah, desperate to save him, jumps off the ship. And they end up stranded and adrift in the ocean. And they have to figure out, do they love each other enough to make some sacrifices and hopefully get rescued by the end of the book, which it's a rom-com romantasy. So yes, they get rescued by the end of the book.
Yeah. And I would add that there's another thing on there too. There is the ship is at the point now where, people have been able to leave to go have their families, but they can't come back. And so now the crew that's left on ship is that they're at a point where they can only lose one more without being able to continue to sail the ship.
Yeah, that's right. We're at a
So
skeleton crew at this point for the second,
yeah.
so they
So
can't.
she could leave, but technically, or not technically, he could leave too, but then they would be stranding the ship without having enough people to do the ship. So that's another thing that kind of plays in there too, besides the fact that, she has this dream of leaving and he kind of likes to be on the ship and, that stuff. So, but of course, his dream is also to be with her.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, let's look at the first question, which is one that Rachel has asked like all the authors and then when she's been on here. And I think it's a really hard question because first you have to figure out your favorite book that you wrote. And then what was the hardest part of your favorite book that you wrote?
So far, I guess I should specify. I have the first 3 books in the Outcasts of Nearland all drafted. So they're all done. They're just in the process of being edited right now. And I think out of all of them, my favorite is the 3rd one. I think I might be saying that because I just finished that one a little while ago. That might be why. I
My
don't know.
finished book is like not my favorite one at that time.
That might be why. Well, and that's the thing, is that usually I'll tell you my favorite book is the one that I'm finishing, because or the one that I'm working on right now.
I'm working on, yeah.
One I'm drafting right now, I'm absolutely in love with because it's super fun, because it's a thief and a dryad and it's fantastic. And so it's super fun. But I think it's the 3rd one. And the hardest part of writing that one has been getting everything to match up with the other 2 books. So in the Outcasts of Nearland, in the next book, you're going to meet the next 3. You're going to meet the main couple for that book, and you're going to meet the next 2 couples as well. And making sure, and that 3rd book, everybody is in there and everybody is is interacting. It's like, wait, is that actually what Anthony said? And having to go back to the
Mhm.
first one and make sure that I'm quoting it correctly and everything is like correct because I don't want to have to retcon anything.
Yeah.
And
I
so
think that's
making
a
sure it all matches.
I think that's a common thing for authors as they get further in a series, that especially like when you hit like that third book, it becomes really hard to try to make sure you've got everything lined up just right.
Yeah, so continuity. I think that's the hardest
Continuity.
part of writing
Mhm.
any of my favorite books right now is continuity. Does everything match?
Rachel also asks, any tips on writing compelling, meaningful kissing?
Um, so I'm going to specify this with I'm on the autism spectrum, and so for me, there's a lot of um, physicality that goes into how I write kissing scenes because that's something that's a little bit more tangible for me and easier to understand. And then what I'll also do is I will bring in the the senses. So that's something that for all my fictionary friends, I learned with fictionary is that a kiss scene is a great time to bring in three or more of the senses to be able to really bring that scene to life and help the reader really connect with the character.
Well, I think what you did really well leading up to that kiss scene is that all the small little touches between them, which they were both, like, this is my friend. Yep, here's my buddy, my arms around her shoulder. And, she's thinking, oh, he's just my friend. He's my best friend. And of course, in his point of view, he is like, he just wants to keep holding her and,
Yes.
hold her close. And, and she wants the same thing, but she's seen his action as just a friendly one. And he wants more, she wants more. And so you have this push and pull between the two of them, between their points of views. And I think all of that built up, like when they were they almost kissed. Well, first of all, when they were dancing that night on the ship, I thought when they went to a darker section of the ship, I thought, okay, here's a kiss. But you blew past that until they were going to go up to the crow's nest to watch the stars. And then, of course, that's when almost kiss happens. And, but yeah, all of that I was ready for. You built all the way up to it. I was ready for it. It didn't happen. So when they were finally stranded out to sea, I was like, okay, it's got to happen now.
Yes, it does. I promise it does.
So how, Nikki asks, how have you balanced a writing career with family life?
So I have a lot of communication with my husband, which is something that we've had to learn to do because he's also neurodivergent in a different way than I'm neurodivergent. And so it takes a lot of, we learned very on in our marriage that if we didn't talk to each other and be very straightforward, we were going to have a very rough life. So, so there's been a lot of open communication of, this is what I need to get done in this time frame, and how can we balance that with making sure that things work with the family. So I'm in a good position in that both of my kids are in school full time, and so that makes it really easy to say, okay, this is the time frame where I know that I've got uninterrupted time and I can work through that whole section while they're at school. And then when they get home, we do schoolwork and we work through all the chores. We live in a small rural community and have a lot of outside chores that we have to go do. And so after school is when we go and do that because the sun's still up and it's not fun to do those in the dark. And so that time I mentally prepare that, okay, as soon as I have to leave to go get my kids from school, that ends. And then we do all of the other stuff. And then in the evening, my husband and I will talk, okay, what is it that we want to do after we put the kids to bed? Do we want time together? Do I need time specifically to work on something? My husband's involved with the youth in our community. And so he has nights during the week where he goes and he volunteers with them. And so those are nights where I know those are writing nights because he won't be here and my kids will be in bed. And those are times that I can do that. So just a lot of planning and a lot of communication.
Yeah, I'd say that's key. So yeah, my husband and I kind of do the same thing, deal with the kiddo when he gets home, get him fed, make sure he's happy. Now all he wants to do is game. So he doesn't even want us anymore. But we do put a time limit on there. And, but by the time he gets out of therapy and stuff, he only has like an hour and a half before he goes to bed anyway. So we try to spend time with him. And then last night, my husband on the way home from work, he's like, I think I want to hang out with my friends and do some gaming. My husband's a gamer too. And do some gaming time. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll do some work.
Yep, exactly.
But yeah, so definitely needed communication. So Victoria also asked, what kind of writing process do you have?
So I'm a discovery writer, or a
There's a
pantser.
whole like YouTube channel
Yep.
with lots of videos about it. So they're
So
very
you're
good.
a writer. I have a whole YouTube channel that is all of the discovery writing tips and things that I find as I find things I'm like, oh, that's cool, that works. Let's talk about that. Uh, so a whole bunch of stuff like that. But so I start at the beginning. I write chronologically. I am discovering the story as I go. Sometimes, and it doesn't have to happen very often, but every now and again, a scene will come to me that's out of order, and I literally just like skip 2 pages in the document. I write it out, and then I go back and I write up until I get to that scene, and that scene usually has to change when I get to it. Um, and then I'm never afraid to go back and fix things. I think that's the number one piece of advice that I would give to discovery writers is the advice to go back or to not edit until you finish the draft. I'd be really careful with that advice. And it suggest you go read Writing into the Dark by Dean Wesley Smith. I think that's his name. And he talks about cycle editing or circle editing, where every time you realize you've hit a plot hole, you go back and fix the plot hole and you read forward again to make sure you fixed it. And I am capable of putting out discovery written drafts that I've had people look at and say, so this is like your 4th or 5th draft, right? And I go, no, this is my 1st draft. And it's because technically it really would be like my 7th draft, but I've been going through and fixing as I'm writing. So I get to a point and I go, oh, that's a plot hole. I go back and I fix the plot hole and I move forward again. Or, oh, I should have foreshadowed that. I go back and I foreshadow it and I move forward again. And so I think that for me, that works really well. And it makes it so I'm putting out good drafts that don't need a huge amount of editing. And I'm doing it in just a couple of months.
Definitely different for me. So, but I think I used to do the cycling editing when, like 10 years ago. But I found now I lose patience. And another thing is my memory is not so good anymore. So like if I know what's happening in the next scene, because I am a discovery writer, so I don't know that far in advance, but I know a little bit. And if I stop and go do something else, then I'm like, oh shoot, what was I thinking for that scene? So what I do now is like if I see something, especially this happens all the time with the foreshadowing and plot holes, go back. I leave a note to myself, go back and make sure this is said ahead of time.
Oh, I like that too. That's a good way to do it too.
Yeah. So that way I don't forget that plot hole or just thing I need to foreshadow, but I'm also not going to forget what comes next. So I think that might be just more of an age thing. That's why I've probably changed. So I want to kind of catch up with some of the chat here because there's a lot. Rita said, I want to visit Nerdland. Looking forward to reading it, Kestrel. Yes, we may all already occupy such a land.
I already do.
Yeah. Hey, cool gamer, how are you? Margaret says, I would not get half of my stories out if I had a 2-minute limit. Oh,
right.
I don't mean when I'm posting. When I go to consume content on Instagram, I give myself a 2-minute limit. So, and then when I post, I try to get on and get off. But sometimes I'll give myself like a minute to look through things real quick. But good old fan fiction. Yeah, Kiko's a fan fiction writer. I think Nerdland just has to exist now. The people have spoken. Fight, yes. Join the dark side. We have cookies. I declare Nerdland. You did not find what you wanted in FF. That I was thinking the same thing when you said you couldn't find a Hermione and Harry Potter union.
No, it was Harry Potter and Ginny Weasley.
Oh,
which most people who I'm not going to go on a Harry Potter rant. This is not the place for that. It is not as common to find Harry and Ginny fan fiction, and it's even less common to find what my favorite ship is. A ship is a relationship that in fan fiction, and my favorite ship is Sirius Black and a character who is mentioned twice in the entire series. Her name was Marlene McKinnon, and that is epically difficult to find. And I wrote a lot of it. I still write a lot of it.
Gotcha.
So yes, I could not find what I wanted.
Spite equals the best motivator, yay or nay?
It's a good motivator. It's not why I write now, but it was a good way to get me going.
I think to each their own. I don't think this would be something that would motivate me, but I've heard a lot of people say that it motivates them. So it works for people. Always yay. See, Rachel's one of them. Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know. I think what motivates me, I realized like this month was really, really busy with having authors on the show. And
Mhm.
the first 11 days was back to back to back to back. And so I didn't write hardly any at all, like at all. And I started feeling like down. And then one week I was like feeling more happy. And I was talking to my gym trainer. I was like, oh, I think I put it together. Well, I'm happy. I've written 3 days in a row now. I'm happy because I've written. So,
That's
um,
awesome though.
yeah, so I think it brings happiness for me. So if I was to try to write out of spite, I think it would do the opposite. Like I'm the opposite side of that. But hey, hooray for bookish husbands.
Yes.
With Girl Circle. Yes, we have. From Rachel writing for spite to Elaine starting writing in spite. The cuddlers have me dying. Me too. I
Oh,
want to know more
yay.
about them. I mean, you drop all the hints that they are very, I can't say the word. For those who don't know, I'm partially tone deaf, so I see words, but I don't know how to say them because I can't remember how they're supposed to sound. They're very aware of it. You drop all these hints that they're very aware. They know what humans are saying, and they're
Yes.
responding to what humans are saying. So they are very intelligent. They just don't have a way of communicating, except for
They chirp at you.
nonverbal communication. Yeah. So okay, stranded on the ocean, nightmare for me.
Yeah, they definitely I let the characters address the fact that this looks like the end. Like
Yeah,
I don't write cozy, and I'm very specific to make sure that people know that. Like people
yeah,
die in my books. It's never the main characters, it's never the good guys, but people die and we look at death and it is a real thing.
yeah. I mean, she thinks when she's first rescued by the cuddler, she's like, "You should just let me drown. Now I've got to sit out here and starve and
Yeah,
die from dehydration,
exposure. Yeah.
yeah, exposure. I'd rather just drown. You should just let me drown." Burst into song with every passing hour. I'm so glad I left my tower. And when does Anthony get his?
Anthony is next.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if that's really a spoiler or anything, but
No, it's not.
um, okay. So yeah, at the end of the book, in the epilogue, there's a mention of a surprise guest or something, but it's
Yeah, the
not really
stowaway.
said what it is. A stowaway. It's not really said what it is. So I'm
Mhm.
curious as to what that is. And I assume that this is going to be Anthony's love romantic partner in the next one, or the couple, the ship that's going to
Yes.
happen in the next one. So
Yep.
hello, Leslie. How are you doing? Good morning. Hello, Eva. People saying hello, hello. And there was
Hi.
Elaine's YouTube channel. Go follow her. She has like, you have like, what, 9 subscribers? Wait, is this a different one?
So this is different. So the Elaine Canyon books is where you can find the audiobook for Love and a Bit of Disorder, which is essentially ranch hands in a fantasy world. It's fun. Because I live in this. That's what I live in regular,
Oh,
just
you have 7
without the
subscribers.
fantasy part. And then I have my author channel, which is just
Okay.
it's just Elaine Canyon. If you search at Elaine Canyon in YouTube, you find me.
See if I can find it here, or if someone with a blue wrench wants to do it. I was trying to put your author one for the discussion. Oops, I spelled your name wrong, but still pulled you up. Okay. There we go. I got it. Because we were talking about, your discovery writing
Yeah,
videos.
so that's for the discovery writing and the cover design. So if you're an author, that's where you can go and get some cover design advice. You can get discovery writing advice.
And that one you have 193 subscribers. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just subscribed to your other one. Because I saw the 7 subscribers earlier and I was like, wow, that's kind of low. She's been on YouTube for a while. And then it just hit me.
Yeah,
Wait,
no,
you've
that's
got a
the new
different
one.
channel. You have a different
That just
channel.
launched.
Yeah. I was like, you've got 2 different channels. That's what it is.
Yep.
Okay. Rant, kiss, kiss, kiss. I don't know. My recent thick book was a spite, right? Yeah, my cold dead heart is fueled by spite. Here we go. We got lots of people who love this spite. Bob says, I know I was writing from spite in the beginning.
That's awesome.
Yeah. There's the YouTube channel with the writing stuff. And Sprite, the Sprite. Oh, the Sprite tribe. I like that. The Sprite tribe. Yeah, growth. Chaos mode activated. All right, let's get back to a question that I have for you. Did you have any specific tropes, fantasy romance in mind when you developed this story?
So I wrote this one after I wrote Anthony's story.
Oh,
So I wrote Anthony's story and I just put Hannah and Nicholas together, and I knew they had a backstory, but I wasn't sure what it was. And as I wrote Anthony's book, I started I started having to put in some of Hannah and Nicholas's backstory. And I was like, this is a lot of fun. I should have started with them. So I finished Anthony's book and then I went back and wrote this one. So I already knew that it was friends to lovers. I knew that something massive had happened to bring them together. And I knew that I wanted them to end up where they couldn't get away from each other, because I knew I knew Hannah's character well enough at that point to know that running away and hiding was her go-to. That was her default.
Which is like
And
hard to do on a ship.
right,
There's like
right,
so many
exactly. And
places
so I
you
was
could
like,
go.
hey, I'm gonna like, she does a good job.
Yeah, she does.
She's very good at it. And her being good at hiding is really, really important in the next book.
Uh,
Which was how I knew
Foreshadowing.
I knew that her default was going to be, I don't want to handle this. I am going to hide. And so I worked from those things and figured out, okay, I know this is friends to lovers, and then built, and there has to be a forced proximity where she can't hide. And then I built off of that.
Devin just came in. She changed her photo there. She's got a bit of her book in there.
Fun.
Yeah, I picked up, of course, on the friends to lovers trope, and her running away all the time. So I did notice that the setup of your titles is very specific. So this was love. Don't tell me. I just had love, ships, and sea servants. The next was love, mystique, and mermaids. And so I kind of like that. You got 3 parts to it. And even your short story kind of follows that as well. That kind of method. So you have that one word love that kind of ties these 2 books together. Is that going to be in your 3rd book as well?
Yeah, so it's love, ships, and sea serpents, love, mystique, and mermaids, love, discretion, and dragons, and love, freedom, and fae. So that's everything that's drafted. And well, I guess love, ships, and sea serpents is out, but that's everything I'm working on that side. And then love and a bit of disorder. And then I haven't named the one I'm working on right now. I know it's love, something, and something. But part of that is just that it makes it really easy for me to have a template for my titles, because titles are hard.
Yeah. Yes.
When I wrote fan fiction, all of my titles were 1-word titles, and I would just pick an adjective that described the story reasonably well, and that was the name, and that was it, and that was all I did, because it was easy and I didn't have to think about it. But for this, I wanted to make sure that I was at least describing and making it clear what the books were about. Yes, I said dragons. We're a little ways from dragons, but we're getting there.
Getting there.
We're almost there. I've got to finish mermaids. And part of it is that what the books were like, what their working titles were. And so that made, like, the working title for Love, Ships, and Sea Serpents was Pirates. And the working title for Love, Mystique, and Mermaids was Mermaids. I knew that I wanted these creatures involved, because that's one of my favorite things. I like animals, and specifically really exotic animals. My favorite animal is the poison dart frog. And so I wanted to bring all of these creatures that I love into the stories. So all of my books so far match this kind of love something and something, or love and something. And it makes it easy for me, is the main reason I'm doing it.
Yeah. And I did notice that you have like that sea related creatures, because you have sea serpents and mermaids, but dragons not necessarily sea related, but
right. And fae aren't either.
No. And that, I'm like, okay, so the next one, it says it ends with a mermaid. It makes me wonder if the stowaway is a mermaid. But I'm like, wait, but the sea serpent was not the love interest of the first book. So would mermaid be the love interest of the second book? Like, it could be. She could be trying to, mess with us. Those of us who like to try to see ahead and see what patterns are there and what could be happening next. So
it'll be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah. Oh God, titles, yes.
Yes, titles be hard.
Yeah. And I don't know if Christy is here, but hello. She said she was just stopping by to boop the like button. Cute and yet deadly. Yep.
Yes.
So, all right. So, going to move on to the questions I've asked all the authors on here, which is, who is your favorite fantasy romance author?
Tara Grace, Grayce.
Okay, I don't think I've heard that one before.
She is awesome. My favorite right now is her newest series. It's A Court of Midsummer Mayhem, and it's fae, and everybody is running around like chickens with their heads cut off half the time, and it's so funny. It's one of those books that I laughed out loud. I read her first one. Which was the first? Oh yeah, I read A Midsummer Bride at the pool over the summer with my kids, and I was sitting off on the side and I was reading and they were playing in the pool and having a great time. And I had like 5 or 6 people like turn and look at me as I'm on my Kindle laughing hysterically. They're like, "What are you doing?"
Is that also clean romance or?
Yes, it is also clean
Okay.
romance. All of her books are
So,
clean.
clean romance, funny, fantasy romance is kind of like what you're doing as well. So it's
Yeah,
like a
it's a
perfect
lot yeah, it's
matchup.
a lot like what I'm doing. She's a little bit more on the cozy side for
Mm.
some of it. Some of her books aren't cozy, but a lot of what she writes falls closer to that cozy side than what I write. And she usually only has 1 or 2 kisses in her books, and I am quite a bit more physical in my books. So I'm still
Christina,
closed
this one is
door.
free right now. Go get it.
Yes, this is free. Go
This
get
is
it. It
free
will
right now.
I will let you in a secret. It will
Oh,
always be free,
it'll
but
always be
go get it
come
now.
on, go get it. Well, if you go get it now, if you guys go get it, even if you don't read it, it will help to bump up the algorithm on this book on Amazon if you get it on Amazon. I don't know how the other platforms work as well, but this is available wide. So it's on
Yes.
Google Play. It's on it's Barnes and Noble.
Kobo. It should be
Kobo.
on Barnes& and Noble
Okay.
now.
I saw
Draft to
Kobo, yeah.
Digital. Barnes& and Noble was fighting with Draft to Digital, so I had to go figure that out this morning too, but I think it's working now.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
I've had issues with between Draft to Digital and Ingram Spark and now Draft to Digital and Google Play. I've had issues. And I'm
Yeah.
like, really, Draft to Digital? Why are you doing this? But I mean, they're gonna figure things out. I really do appreciate that they're there for indie authors. So,
Yeah.
but yes, go check this out. Help bump the algorithm for Elaine's book there, so she can get more exposure because this was an awesome book. Really quick read too. So, what's your favorite fantasy or romance trope and why?
My favorite I'm trying to think. I really love I think for romance in general, I love like a fake relationship or a marriage of convenience. I love
Mhm.
that like they have to pretend like they like each other. I get a kick out of that one. I love that a lot, and it works in all of the genres.
Mhm.
Um, and then I think for
Hers
fantasy, I
closed
love the huh?
closed door. I'm just answering her because I know
Oh,
she said
yeah.
she wasn't gonna be saying, but
Yep, all of my books are closed door. Everything I do is closed door. I wouldn't go so far as to call them clean, just because I am a physical person, and so I write a lot of physicality into my books, and so I'm not shy to say, like, how they're touching each other, but that is definitely one of the things that, like, I won't ever cross the line into an explicit scene.
I
Um,
would say this book is probably good for 13 and above, probably.
yeah, I like to say I write PG-13. Like, I wouldn't I write right on that edge of PG to PG-13.
Yeah, because there is some death, but it's not gory or violent. I mean,
Yeah.
sort of. You get a really good idea of how it could be violent, but
Yeah.
there's not a whole
If
lot but time spent on the gore and violence at all. So, um, but yeah,
yeah.
let's get physical. Physical.
So, yeah, I think marriage of convenience and fake relationship, and then if it's a fantasy book specifically, I love the journey. I
Yeah.
learned to love fantasy on, right after the 3rd Harry Potter book came out. It felt like ages before the 4th one came out, and my mom handed me David Eddings, and I read the Belgariad, the Malorian, Belgarath the Sorcerer, Polgarath the Sorcerer, and everything else that he had out at that time. I read them every year, and one of the main tropes that David Eddings wrote into all of his books was the journey, like where they had to go to a place, and then they had to go to the next place, and they had to go to the next place. Kind of like the Frodo and Sam having to make it all the way to Mount Doom. I love that trope where it's these
Mhm.
people and they're traveling and they have to grow to either at the minimum cooperate,
Mhm.
but at the most like they become a family. And so I love that forced proximity of we have to get to this place.
Yeah, I like that too. We've got a few more. Um, trying to see. I think I missed some of these here. um, I was thinking there was something here. Oh, here he goes. Foreshadowed Anthony's love interest. Was this? I mean, I got this like toward in the epilogue is where I got this at. Was it anywhere else in the book?
So I foreshadowed that the sea will play a part in getting Anthony
Oh
his
yeah, well
love
they talked
interest.
about that. They're like, well,
Yeah.
could she find
So
someone for you? And he's like, God, I hope not.
yeah. So I promise it's not a leviathan and it's not a sea serpent.
It's a mermaid. I'm calling it. It's a mermaid.
As much as Hannah would love for it to be a leviathan or a sea serpent, it's not.
Devin says, got it, penning it for June. Not sure what that, I think I might miss something. And thanks, got the info. Gee, I have all the editing's books.
Oh, yay.
I reread these all the time. Love the hero's journey.
Yes, I love Eddings books. My absolute favorite book of all time. Yeah, a little bit like a fellowship trope, Rachel. My absolute favorite book of all time is an Eddings book. It's called The Redemption of Athalas. And it is absolutely amazing. It is, you can tell that his wife, Leah, had a really heavy hand in that book. And she's on the title as one of the authors. She's a co-author listed. Because there's 4 different romantic subplots that run through that book. And then a bunch of little tiny ones that are just hinted at here and hinted at there. And then you get to see them resolved at the end. It's fantastic. It's like find the romance trope and then watch it happen as they actually save the world and everything else. It's fantastic. I love it.
All right. Well, we're going to move on to the fun and games portion of the show. Now, if you guys still have questions for the author, you still can drop them in there. We're going to play this game that is author's choice, and she chose Would You Rather Fantasy Romance Edition. And I did try to develop them around, so I did them like in the last 20 minutes before we went live, around like pirates, pirate ships, sea serpents, mermaids, fantasy sea creatures. I wrote these down, so I try to incorporate them. Friends to lovers trope and a setting during the time of pirates on old sailing ships. So hopefully some of these will make sense, but if not, we'll have fun with it. But in the audience, we'd love for you guys to tell us which one you would rather have between the 2 choices of each of these. And I feel like I'm missing something. I've been feeling that all morning though, so let me just go on. All right, first one, find my spot. Okay. Would you rather fall in love with the daring captain of a pirate ship known for their adventurous spirit and charm, or the loyal crewmate where your friendship blossoms into love amidst the high seas?
Ooh. This is hard because now I have these characters in my head. I know who James Roberts is. I know how he wooed his wife. But I just wrote Nicholas too, and I love Nicholas. I'd probably have to go with the sea captain, with the pirate sea captain.
Yeah, same here, because the adjective of daring is like, okay, so we're gonna have some adventures.
Yeah.
So that's the same one I would go with. All right, next one. Would you rather have a forbidden romance with a mermaid merman whose songs can calm even the fiercest storms, or share a deep unspoken bond with a sea serpent, guardian of the ocean's greatest treasures?
I'll take the forbidden romance.
You want the sea serpent, right? Crewmate. Devin went with crewmate for the last one. Kiko said, neither I'm afraid of the ocean, so I don't get off the ship. It might be hard for you to choose some of these because I think a lot of these have to do with ships and stuff, because Elaine's book takes place on the ocean. So,
yep.
Oops, forbidden romance. But Marie chose sea serpent. All right. Next one. Would you rather make a pact with a mighty sea serpent to protect your pirate ship from harm, but at a personal cost to your love life, or navigate the treacherous waters on your own, keeping your freedom but endangering your chance at romance?
I'll take my chances.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I would definitely take my chances on that one. Plus, then you don't have to deal with the sea ship or the sea serpent.
Yeah.
Okay, pirate, because there are not enough pirate books.
Yeah.
Freedom. The Deal.
Oh, okay.
All right, next one. Would you rather uncover that your longtime friend and shipmate is secretly a mermaid merman, leading to a magical romance filled with challenges, or be captivated by a mysterious new crew member who is secretly royalty from a hidden underwater kingdom?
Oh, wow.
This is one of my favorite ones.
I'm going to go with the first one.
See, I would go with the second one. I think this is the first time we don't agree.
Well, I'm going to go with the first one because the idea of being someone's being a king or I guess a queen or a princess in some kingdom is not appealing in the slightest. And as you read, Outcasts of Neverland, you're going to see that I find that epically unappealing.
I like the idea of the mysterious part of it.
The
That's what
mysterious is cool. I like
that's
that.
the part that would draw me in. Yeah. He is a blacksmith. No, he's a pirate. Crew member for Devon. All right. Would you rather... Oops, lost my place. Would you rather embark on a quest for a treasure that promises eternal love with your best friend turned lover, guarded by an ancient fantasy sea creature, or pursue a map that leads to the heart of the sea where a profound choice between love and treasure awaits?
The first one.
With the first one, too. I don't think I did a good job on the second part of that. So, the friend. Hello, Six. What is a discovery writer? Closed door, open door? What does that mean?
Okay, so a discovery writer means that when I am writing, I haven't outlined anything. So I don't have a plan of where the book's going. I usually just have a mood or a feel. In the writing community, you'll also hear this called writing by the seat of your pants or pantsing. I read too much British fiction growing up, and so I don't like that term.
With intuitive writing?
Yeah, intuitive writing. It's like that. So closed door and open door, that is specific to the romance community. Closed door means that you won't find explicit content on the page. Open door means you will. So an open door book would describe a romance book that has sex scenes written out in it or other explicit scenes written out in it. And then closed door describes a book that does not have it written out in it.
Yeah. And I would also say that discovery, because I'm a discovery writer, I would say it's kind of like a sliding scale too, because like you said, you don't outline anything. I don't outline anything either, but I do write down a bunch of notes, and they're my what if notes. Like, if my character does this, what if she does that? What could that do? It could be this possibility. If that possibility, this is what could happen. But what if she does that instead? And then I backtrack and I go back and like, okay, if she made a different decision here, what if she made this decision? So I do all this brainstorming, and it's usually handwritten notes that I just do. Yeah, I just do what ifs.
I don't even do that. Like I look at I've tried to do that before, and I'll look at it and it's just staring at a blank page because I'm like, I don't know. I have to write it. I have to write it to figure out what's gonna happen.
I have to say that like my what if notes, like I went back and read my what if notes from my book that just came out, Curse of Scales and Feathers, and like where like the beginning sounds very familiar, but the rest of my what if notes never appeared in my book.
Nice.
So, but like intuitive writing, Becca Syme talks about intuitive writing, where it says that what you know what you want to do, you internalize story structure and character arcs, and you know what's going to be best for your story, but it's like deep in your subconscious, and you have to get to it, and that can come out different ways. And I think me writing is I'm discarding all the ways it's not going to work.
Oh, that's cool, though.
Yeah,
I like that.
But and then I do reverse outline. You do reverse outline too, though, don't you?
I reverse outline at the end.
Yeah, me too. Rachel says second one.
Yeah.
I would have gone first one too. Will I get over my fear of 7 foot plus squids and go to the bottom of the sea? Also, all my besties are already married, so that'd be awkward. Oh my goodness.
That would be awkward.
That would
be bad.
Fade to Black is my favorite in the romance world. Yeah, and Fade to Black is kind of like the same thing as the closed door.
That's closed door. Yep.
And all of my stuff was Fade to Black, closed door until I decided to try it in my fantasy romance. Now my first one is not. There's kissing, there's some physicality, but that's it. So, and someone did label it clean romance in one of my reviews, but I don't know if I would quite do it that way. But there's no nudity or anything like that. So, but my next book is different. So, but yeah. Next one. Would you rather be aboard a pirate ship cursed to roam the seas until true love breaks the spell, forcing you and your crew to face your deepest feelings, or be the one to discover the curse's origin, embarking on a perilous journey with a friend who might hold the key to your heart?
Oh, both of those are good.
I like the second one.
I like the second one a lot too, but I also kind of like the first one because I feel like that is like a real metaphor for my life. It's like sitting in therapy. Like, this is what we do.
All right. Would you rather resist the enchanting songs of a siren to save your pirate lover, proving the strength of your bond, or succumb to the melody leading to a twisted romance with a creature of the deep? Kiko's gonna probably choose the first one.
First one, I think. I think I choose the first one.
Yeah, I don't know what twisted romance. What was I thinking? I don't think I would think dark. It's just,
Oh, that's where my brain went. It was dark. I
yeah,
was like, I
yeah,
don't
me
like
too.
that part.
I didn't choose the right word there. I should have chose a different word. That's okay. Okay. Let me check the chat first. Yeah, I do
Yeah.
that. In a world where the ocean is ruled by a powerful mer king or mer queen, would you rather be a pirate who falls in love with this underwater monarch, embroiled in a conflict between land and sea, or a common sailor who discovers they are the lost heir to the oceanic throne, guided by a loyal friend who might just be your distant love? Distant love.
I'm not gonna lie, I totally like spaced half of what you said.
Oh,
Can you say it again?
well, it's royalty, so I kind of when I talked about underwater monarch, I was like, oh, she's not gonna like this one.
I'll still pick one. That's the whole point of the game.
Okay, in a world where the ocean's ruled by a powerful mer person, would you
Okay.
rather be a pirate who falls in love with this underwater monarch, embroiled in a conflict between land and sea, or would you rather be a sailor who discovers they are the lost heir to this throne, guided by a loyal friend who might be your destined love?
Oh, I want to be the pirate.
Yeah. Oh no, wait. The pirate. Yeah, the pirate's the first one. I would be
Yeah,
the sailor.
I like that one too. I want to be the pirate.
That makes sense. Okay, we've got a few here. Twisted romance, monster boyfriend. Monster boyfriend. High five. First one again for Kiko. High five. Lost heir. Yeah, I'd want to be the lost heir too. Not for the lost heir part, but the friend who might be my destined love. I like that kind of idea. But all right, would you rather find love in the eye of a magical storm conjured by an angry sea witch with a pirate who stands by your side, or in the calm after the storm in the arms of a mer person who saved you from the tempest?
Ooh, both of those are good. Um, I think I want the pirate and the storm. I think that's what I want.
The first one. I would choose the first one too, because the second one assumes that you are saved by somebody, and I tend to write heroines who save themselves. So,
Yeah.
so
I write a lot of stories. Like I was looking back at as I'm editing Anthony's book, and I'm like, oh, she saved him, and then he saved her, and then she said, and I go back and forth with it a lot, and I'm like, I didn't realize I did that, but there's a
yeah.
lot of like even keel of each character saving the other.
Well, in my novella, which I've that's Sunset on the Hybrid Prince, after I've gone back later, I wrote it and then get some time away from it, and then looked at it again. I was like, huh. The prince doesn't really do anything to add to the story other than be the love interest. So I was like, I make him look kind of weak. So, anyways, that's what I thought. I don't know if anyone ever thinks that way when they read it, but I think it's more that as I grow older, I'm more avoidant of war.
That's fair.
Again, I'm tired of saving myself.
It's like I'm done. Someone do it for me. I
Someone do it for
don't
me.
want to do this anymore.
I could get on board with that. I came in late, so sorry for repeating. How do you schedule your writing time? Plants are here. How about if we save that until the you finish the would you rather's? LOL. What? Okay. Would you rather be cursed to turn into a sea creature every full moon, a secret you must hide from your pirate crew, or have your heart literally stolen by a sea witch, requiring a love strong enough to retrieve it? Have your heart literally stolen by sea witch, requiring a love strong enough to retrieve it. Ooh,
What are my consequences for the first one if I get found out? I get thrown off the ship?
maybe your heart is given to the sea witch. Your heart's literally given to the sea witch.
That would be weird. I'm trying to figure out. I think I want the first one, just because I'm pretty darn good at hiding. Hannah gets certain things from me.
The second one does sound like a book. I was thinking the same thing.
The second one sounds like a book.
But actually, you could do it. You could put the two together. So you are cursed to turn to a sea creature every full moon, a secret you have to hide from your pirate crew. But when they find out, they literally give your heart to the sea witch, and now you have to go on a mission to retrieve it, but you have to find a love strong enough to retrieve it.
Yeah, I think that all
Right
flows together really well.
Yep.
There you go. There's your
I
next
would read
book.
that.
There's your next book.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Okay. Would you rather dive into the forbidden depths to uncover a lost city with your childhood friend turned lover, facing ancient guardians and your own fears, or command a pirate ship with a crew of outcasts, finding love amidst battles and treasure hunts? I'm going to call it number 2 for you.
Yes. I want to go on the pirate ship.
Yeah. That's what I figured. That's the one you want to do. I think I'd do the first one. Yeah. I don't know. I like both of them, though.
They're fun. These are fun. I like this.
Second, because here's the plan. I sell the heart to another sea witch and tell him, darn, it got stolen by so-and-so and let them fight. Plot twist. This has been great. Thank you, SD, for hosting this. Congratulations, Elaine. And I will post a review in a few days. I got class reviews. Thank you for coming, Maureen.
Bye, Crystal. Thank you.
And have a wonderful day. Okay, we're going to have to get going on the writing sprint here soon. Let's do one more. Where did I leave off? I have quite a few here. I'm trying to find one that I think would be... Okay, this one's both pirates, so both choices have pirates in it. Would you rather possess an enchanted compass that leads you to your heart's true desire, revealing unexpected love on a pirate voyage, or have a map that shows the location of your soulmate, but they're on the most feared pirate ship in the ocean?
I'd want the compass because I wouldn't want to know in advance. I would just want to follow it and see, oh, okay, here we go.
You would have solved the mystery and get surprised. I like surprises. Yes. Pirate captain other than Sparrow. More. Yeah, we're going to have to get going on the sprint here because we are getting to the top of the hour and we have a half-hour sprint we still need to get through. Compass for Devin. Yeah. Well, as I set it up, why don't I go ahead and pull that question back up and you can answer that. How do you schedule your writing time? Plants are here.
So I schedule my writing time specifically when my kids are at school. That's a guarantee that I know I've got time to work on writing and writing business. But before my kids were in school and I was writing fan fiction, I've kept that habit of just writing anytime and anywhere. And so I write mainly on my phone. I do write on my computer a lot more now, but I write in Google Docs. And so I can be sitting in the carpool lane waiting to pick up my kids. That's a 30-minute sprint right there. Typing? Yeah, and I type on my phone.
So I've done it to Google Docs and Gmail, but I will voice record.
Oh, I can't do that. Which is hilarious because I audio process. So like to process emotion, I talk it out, but I can't dictate a story. I've tried. I can't count how many times. It doesn't work.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work for everyone. So because after a spouse, my next heart's desire might be like the best cake in the world. I don't know.
I like that.
Yeah. All right, so now we're going to do the writing sprint, and we did. Elaine chose a prompt ahead of time, so that is here. In a forest inhabited by sentient trees, I don't know how you say that word. Dryad and a wandering human traveler form a deep connection, but there are those who seek to exploit the forest magic. This would actually work well in my world, but I do have. I have an edit I have to get through today for my girlfriend. It's due today. So I got to get that back to her. So I'm going to be working on that. The prompt is there for you to work on if you want to, if you need a writing prompt. If not, you can use the 30-minute writing sprint for anything you want to do. You could be reading, you could be working on schoolwork, whatever it is that you want to do. What are you going to work on, Elaine?
So I got to pick this early and I liked it so much. I kept telling myself, well, wait till the sprint to start it. And I didn't listen to myself. I'm 5,000 words into this.
Nice.
And so the first chapter, if you sign up for my newsletter, you're going to get chapter by chapter as I write this, because this is what I'm doing as I edit when I get to the point where I'm like banging my head against the wall because I don't want to edit anymore. And I can't edit on my phone. It doesn't work. So in carpool lane, this is what I write. So this is what I'm working at. So if you want,
am I the co-author on there? I'm just kidding.
Do you want to be?
No.
We can talk about it.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, I'm 5,000 words into this story, and it's shifted. It's no longer just a human traveler. It is a thief and a dryad, and they're going to go kill somebody who wants to burn down the forest, and it's fun.
See, and I have a wood goddess who protects all the forests of my world, and she has wood fae, and I always imagine that there are dryads there, but I haven't got that far into my world yet to write anything that in that. But I have stories going on in my head. I'm like, this is a story I could have.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Alrighty, so we're gonna head into the 30-minute writing sprint. Devin says I gotta take my son's missing uniform to him for a school trip. Bye, Devin. Be safe. And does you have a specific need on the moment, like toilet, water? You go. All right, we'll get started in 3, 2, 1, and go. Uh-oh.
You okay?
Okay. No, I was like, how did you do?
I do well.
Okay.
Thanks.
It looked like your mouth moved, but I didn't hear anything. So I don't know if it just skipped out on me over here.
I realized my other screen was blocking my word count. I was like,
Oh,
I don't
no.
know how I did. I have to look. So I got about 500 words.
Nice. Okay. Yes, I wanted to do the editing, which I hadn't opened my my document for. I mean, I do exchanging edits with my girlfriend from college. I'm editing her book, and she's going to edit my next book. And today was the due date, so I had to get this done to her. So, but it was a Google Doc, and I could not get the Google Doc to load. I spent 10 minutes trying to get that thing to load, and I just started doing other stuff. I checked my email stuff, and I came back to it, and finally it loaded. It was like right at 19 minutes left in the stream or in the sprint. So I was like, okay, I'll get a few pages done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did you continue working on this prompt here?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, cool, cool.
So it's
Okay.
fun. I'm excited. It's going to be good.
We go check in with the chat here. We had a few people come and go. Rita had to leave out, so opera rehearsals. I think she's already gone, but that's kind of cool. And then, hey friends, hello, the Sacred Scribe. This is a new person to me. Oh wait, actually, that looks familiar. Is that Savion, or is it someone else? It could
I'm not
be.
sure.
I'm not sure either.
I can tell the picture's too tiny.
Yeah, they did say, hey, friends, like maybe I did know them. But maybe they're saying to other people, not to me. And so I said hi and welcome. And people were saying hello, hello. Rachel says, I got nothing done because I saw Maluka is having a live stream concert, so it was worth it. Which I thought was fun. Devin says, I'm back, teenagers.
Yeah.
And hello, Jen. How are you doing?
Hi, Jen.
I just saw that you had a video, right? Nope, that wasn't you. Was it you? No, that wasn't you. That was somebody else. Too many things happening to me. I'm trying to keep up with people. So not you. So sorry. I probably got your hopes up there, but I thought you had a video that just came out, but that wasn't you. But how are you doing? Did you get any writing done? And then people say, hello, doing okay? I don't love Google Docs. Yeah. I do prefer Word, and it feels really weird, like because I've started editing her work earlier in the month, and then I was doing it off and on all day, so I just had it open. So I think she was like, okay, I think she's done, and she jumped in there and started doing stuff, and I saw her pop in. I'm like, now I felt like I was being watched while I was reading her work.
I hate that. I hate that.
And I was like, I know it's my fault because I've just been having the document open all day and just keep coming back to it when I have a chance, but
like, don't watch me edit.
I know, right?
Don't watch me edit.
Yeah. So we did have that overlap, and then I told her I was going to try and get in there on Tuesday this past week, but I wasn't able to. But she had texted me ahead of time. She was like, "Hey, I'm going to go ahead and start working on some of the things you sent me, just so you know that I'm in there." And I'm like, "Okay." But me, nope. I haven't used my YouTube channel in days. Pandemonium. It's nice that you can share it right there, but I hate editing on it. Yeah. Especially if you're being watched. So, well, if you guys have any last minute questions, go ahead and throw them into the chat. We are going to start wrapping up the chat here. But as we do that, Elaine, if you want to tell us a little bit about what you're working on next, I know you've kind of already talked about it, but go ahead and tell us about it again and when it might come out.
Yeah, so Love Ships and Sea Serpents introduces you to the pirate ship, the Siren, and Hannah and Nicholas are sailors. They're pirates on that ship. But the captain of that ship is James Roberts, and his son, Anthony Roberts, is Hannah and Nicholas's best friend. And Anthony has this awesome thing where he can talk to the sea, and the sea answers. And so he is the next book, Love, Mystique, and Mermaids. And so when you finish off in Love, Ships, and Sea Serpents, you find out we've spent this whole book talking about we cannot bring anybody else on. And at the end, you find out that they've got a stowaway, and they've got to figure out what they're going to do with a stowaway. Mm-hmm. And the stowaway isn't all she seems to be. And Anthony is going to figure that out firsthand. And so when Anthony has to figure out how to navigate the sea trying to play matchmaker, things get messy and funny, and we're going to have a great time. We're going to see Nairland and a whole bunch of other people. We're going to see dragons. We're going to see fae. There's a whole bunch that's going to come in, and it's going to be a blast. And I am editing that right now. I'm hoping to have that done tentatively September, October of this year. That is the tentative date for it right now. And then if you join my mailing list, I'm going to start sending out chapters to this story as I go, because I don't think it's going to be very long. And it's been so much fun so far. So I'm going to start doing that in March. And this is a dryad and a thief and an assassin. And they're going to go kill somebody that wants to burn down the dryad's forest. So,
is this going to be in the same world?
Yes, this is the same world. So everything I write is the same world. It has the same theology. And so as you read my books, it gets really easy to be like, oh, they're talking about the sea. Oh, they're talking about the land. They're talking about the sky. And it kind of carries everything through. So everything's in the same world. I'm not as cool as Brandon Sanderson. I do not have a universe. I have one little world and everybody's on that one little world.
Gotcha. And I would say that the two things that I'm looking forward to the most for the next book, Love, Mystique, and Mermaids, is I'm curious because we do know that C talks to Anthony. We're seeing it happen sort of like periphery in the first book, the one that just came out. And I'm like, I want to be in his head when the talking's happening, because I want to see what that looks like. So I'm
she is so fun. She was one of my favorite characters to write. The sea is just a blast.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. And then the other thing that I'm looking forward to is the fact that we have a stowaway. We were only allowed to have one more person leave the ship without really not having enough of a crew, which means, well, now if we have a stowaway, do we have enough people? Does that mean that, now our characters from this book get to have their happily ever after and she gets to have her baby? Yep. And so I figured that's what's coming, and that's what I'm looking forward to seeing that happen. So
it's going to be lots of fun. I'm super excited for it.
And Jen's like, and you're pushing the deadline and being watched, right?
So, that's the worst part.
Yeah, Deborah, we did
inspiration for your series. So this is
if you want to make it quick, because you did a full explanation at the beginning.
Yeah, so I can make it really quick. So the whole series is actually based off of two separate fan fictions that I wrote that were not connected to each other in any way, but they were two of my fan fiction novels. And they were the ones that were the most popular, that I really loved the most. And I thought, well, if I shift this and I shift this and I shift this, and I put in my own characters and I recreate the world in a different way, it scrubs all of the serial numbers off, to coin a phrase. And and it created this really fun world and this great sandbox place to play in. And that was where everything built and developed from there.
Awesome. Yeah. And she did talk a little bit more about it in the beginning. So if you want to catch her response, you can watch the replay to catch all of that. And if you guys have any other questions, you can put them in the comments below. I'm sure Elaine will be happy to answer them, because we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show. Elaine, can you please tell everyone where they can find you and purchase your books?
Yeah. So Love, Ships, and Sea Serpents is available on every retailer that I can get it on right now. It's free. It's going to stay free forever. And then you can find me at ElaineCanyon.com. You can find me on Instagram at Elaine Canyon. I'm here on YouTube. I have an author channel where I talk about the ins and outs of discovery writing, cover design, and self-publishing on a shoestring budget. That is at Elaine Canyon. And then if you go to Elaine Canyon Books, you can find audiobooks. I do narrate my own audiobooks and produce them on my own, and it's super fun. It does mean it takes a little bit of time, but there is a short story up there right now. It's about an hour long. It's called Love and a Bit of Disorder, and it is ranch hands in a fantasy world, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to check that out. I have that pulled up. So stream goes long means people are having fun. Yes, of course.
Yes.
But I'm trying to be respectful of everyone's time, because I did say it was going to be 90 minutes, and I do have this deadline of getting this edit done. So I'm going to get this.
You have work to do.
I do have work to do. And I'm sure I'm going to talk with Elaine for a little bit behind the scenes. So I don't want to, I miss you guys so much. Oh, it must be him. Thank you for the stream. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I gotcha. So, all right. Thank you, everyone who has been here or has been here multiple times throughout the month. This was the last day of Charmed Chats. Thank you so much, Elaine, for coming on for this last day.
Thank you. This was awesome. I really appreciate it. This has been fantastic. Thank you.
It was lots of fun. And I've loved everybody that we've had on this month. It was great connecting with all the authors. And so this does wrap up Charmed Chats and Happily Ever After Sprints for February. A couple of my authors couldn't make it this month. And one of them has expressed interest of coming like at a later date. So I might be doing again, not March. March is kind of booked up already, but might see like onesies or twosies of these show with authors that are trying to catch up and come onto the channel and talk about their books and stuff. So we might have some charm chats in the future. But for now, that's it for February. Next week, I will start back to my mostly normal sprinting schedule. Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I'll be doing my normal time, 8 to 11. Those are my low, what did I call that? It's like low, like I don't show myself on the screen. It's just doing the sprints on screen. And then Tuesday morning and Wednesday evening, I'm taking part in March Madness that Chelsea from Written and Melanin and Ash Writes a Lot put together, this like month-long writing stuff. And there's a whole schedule to follow with that. So lots of writing stuff. I'm hoping to finish my second book next month. That's my goal. So yeah. So thank you everyone who has joined us today and throughout the month. This has been awesome. And Devin's like, thanks, guy. Bye so much. Thank you. And find the right button and we'll catch everyone later. Bye.
Bye.